happened to her?
So she eventually started traveling to Europe. She was dating this CEO of a jean company that I don't want to name, and he was using her and abusing her and bringing her to parties, and she was getting gang raped by a lot of these older men, and she was stuck in Paris. I was working in London, and I had to go pick her up in Paris and bring her back to New York to get her out. She couldn't get out.
And then when you brought her back to New York, what?
So she had to go through a detox program,
Right.
but then she fell off because she met up with Naomi. Naomi knows a lot of these millionaire and billionaire guys, so she connects you to them. She will connect you. Oh, darling, so-and-so has the hotel, the Fontainebleau in Miami. I'll easily connect you. So they connect you, and then that's it. That's how it's.
Did you know who he was?
Yes, I knew him. I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. I've always said that I'm not a saint, that I am a work in progress, but I will not be held hostage by my past.
Oh yeah, Naomi Campbell is all over the Epstein files. And I remember hearing these rumors about, Naomi used to recruit girls for them. And I was like, I don't see it. Like, surely not. But no, sure enough, she was consistently emailing.
Wait, stop for a second. This isn't gossip anymore. This isn't blind item chatter buried on blogs at 3 a.m. The FBI is officially stepping in, not whispers, not anonymous leaks, real interrogations, sealed warrants cracking open, and the first wave of arrests already rolling out. And the one name investigators keep circling, the one that keeps rising to the top like smoke? Naomi Campbell. Yeah, that Naomi. Sources say her cold, bunker-like private estate, the one people used to laugh about, calling it a luxury fortress or runway palace, is now under a microscope. Because freshly unsealed Epstein records allegedly show pages and pages of direct exchanges between them. Messages, calls, coordination. And suddenly, the stuff people once dismissed as wild conspiracy theories, it doesn't sound crazy anymore. Because this isn't the first time her name has drifted through shadowy rooms. For decades, Naomi's been photographed gliding in and out of closed-door meetings with men nobody fully trusts, billionaires with hidden empires, oligarchs with dirty money, even leaders from unstable regimes. Every time questions surfaced, she did the same thing. Smile for the cameras, deny everything, disappear untouched. Like nothing could ever stick. But this time, it feels different. This time, the air feels tighter. Like the walls are finally pressing in. And here's where it gets even weirder. Remember Elsa Majimbo, the African influencer who briefly blew up online? Years ago, she tried hinting that Naomi's off-camera behavior wasn't what people thought. Tried to suggest something darker was happening behind the glamour. Then almost overnight, silence. Brand deals evaporated. Invitations stopped. Opportunities dried up. It was like someone hit delete on her entire career. Blacklisted. Erased. Like she'd never spoken at all. Coincidence? Or a warning shot? Because now, for anyone who missed the storm this week, the Epstein files finally dropped. Thousands of pages. Names, logs, receipts. And buried inside? Naomi's name pops up again. And again. Direct messages. Direct contact. Not once. Not twice. Repeatedly. And that's when the allegations turn colder. Some investigators don't believe she was just another celebrity guest passing through. They suspect something more calculated. Something deliberate. They think she may have played middlewoman. Allegedly approaching young women with glittering promises, modeling contracts, travel, luxury, life-changing opportunities, only to quietly steer them straight into Epstein's world. A dream packaged in gold. A trap waiting underneath. According to DOJ paperwork, her name appears on visitor logs tied to Epstein's island. Flight manifests too. Over and over like a pattern no one noticed before. One report claims she boarded the infamous private jet, the so-called Lolita Express, at least 5 separate times between 2001 and 2003. 5. 2 of those flights reportedly left from the U.S. Virgin Islands, the same location as Epstein's isolated property, the island people now describe as a playground for the elite's darkest appetites. The other trips? Brazil, Sao Paulo, late nights. No clear explanations. Then come the sightings. Witnesses say Epstein hovered around multiple Victoria's Secret events, lingering backstage near Naomi like he belonged there. The two often slipping out together, casual, comfortable. Like it was routine. Not accidental. Not random. Still, Naomi maintains she barely knew him. Claims she'd never even heard his name until her ex, Flavio Briatore, supposedly introduced them during her 31st birthday party back in 2001. That's the version she tells. That's the line she sticks to. But with every new document, Every new flight log, every resurfaced photo pulled from the past. It's getting harder and harder to pretend all of this is just coincidence.
I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. He was always front and center at Victoria's Secret shows.
Did you suspect what he was doing?
No. And what he's done is indefensible. And when I heard of what he'd done, it sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else. Because I've had my fair share of predators, and thank God that I had good people around me that protected me from this. I mean, right now I stand with the victims. I can't, they're scarred.
And honestly, when Naomi calmly leaned back in that chair and denied every single allegation without flinching, no one gasped. No one even blinked. Because this is what she does. It's almost rehearsed. Every scandal, every sketchy connection, every photo where some powerful man with a toxic reputation is standing just a little too close to her shoulder. Same script, same performance. Smile, shrug, I don't know him. I wasn't there. People make things up. Like clockwork. Like muscle memory. But here's where the story starts to crack. Because for someone who claims she's completely oblivious to what these men are capable of, she has an almost magnetic pull toward them. Constantly. It's never random strangers. Never regular executives. Never harmless nobodies. It's always the most controversial, most insulated, most dangerous names in the room. The kind of men people whisper about. The kind you don't accidentally end up beside. And we've seen this film before. When the Harvey Weinstein horror show finally detonated and Hollywood started burning, guess whose name quietly surfaced in those same circles? Naomi. Again. Same shrug. Same denial. Same, I had no idea what he was doing. At some point, coincidence stops feeling innocent. It starts feeling intentional. Because patterns don't lie. Let's stop sugarcoating it. Reports claim Naomi Campbell allegedly visited Epstein's island 21 separate times. Not once. Not twice. 21. Nobody just stumbles onto the same private island 21 times. That's not an accident. That's not bad luck. That's routine. That's comfort. That's familiarity. And on top of that, she maintained a friendly, almost cozy relationship with Harvey Weinstein while rumors about him had already been circulating for years. Two of the most infamous predators in Hollywood history. And somehow she's just the clueless bystander? Every time? People aren't swallowing that story anymore. Not now. Some critics have gone further, calling her something far worse than naive. Dangerous. Strategic. Saying the media barely scratched the surface of how deep her connection to Epstein might really go. And then come the documents. Because those newly unsealed Epstein files, they don't exactly match the version she tells on camera. While she sits comfortably in interviews, staring straight down the lens, insisting she knew nothing about his activities, the paperwork paints something colder. Something deliberate. Buried in the stack were emails. More than one. Messages that allegedly show them coordinating meetups, discussing travel, organizing logistics, details that feel way too structured to be casual friendship. Not small talk. Not, hello, how are you? Plans. Actual plans. And that's when things take a darker turn. Old clips have started resurfacing online. Naomi approaching young women, gassing them up, promising modeling contracts, exclusive access, big breaks, international runways, selling the dream like it's already theirs. Hope glowing right in front of them like a golden ticket. But here's the unsettling part. Several of those girls, they never showed up anywhere. Never walked the shows. Never appeared in campaigns. Never got the careers they were promised. They just vanished. No contracts. No launches. No explanations. Like they fell straight through the cracks. So people started asking the question nobody wanted to say out loud. Where did they go? And now even the good deeds are under the microscope. Because remember all those charity trips? The footage of Naomi in Kenya, smiling wide, surrounded by children, cameras flashing, headlines praising her humanitarian work? At the time, it looked inspiring, selfless, generous. But today, people are replaying those clips differently. Slower, more skeptical, watching every frame like there's something hiding in plain sight. Because when someone's life is wrapped in this many shadows, even the kind gestures start to feel staged. Like theater. Like image control. Like something carefully designed to keep you distracted from whatever's really happening behind the curtain.
I know she gets out of it.
Well, she gets money. When you bring models or people that can easily be manipulated, you get funded. You get funded. How does she own an island being a supermodel?
I didn't know she owns an island.
Yeah, she owns an island. But this is crime scene investigation.
Yeah.
But it opens your eyes to things that you never even thought of. and I connect all the dots.
Then the story twisted into something even darker. Because the rumors didn't stay whispers anymore. They came with proof. Screenshots. Old footage. Receipts people had somehow missed the first time around. And that's when an old clip resurfaced, one most people had forgotten about, featuring American-based Kenyan influencer Elsa Majimbo. The second it started circulating again, the internet went quiet. Because she wasn't laughing in that video. Wasn't being sarcastic. Wasn't chasing clout. She looked dead serious. Like someone finally tired of staying silent. She wasn't joking. She was exposing. According to Elsa, Naomi personally pulled her close, straight into her inner circle. Made her feel special. Handpicked. Protected. Mentored. Like she'd been granted access to a world most young creators only dream about. Private flights. Exclusive rooms. Powerful people. The elite. At first, it felt like a blessing. A fairy tale. But it wasn't guidance. It wasn't mentorship. It was something else. Introductions. Private dinners. Closed-door meetings where phones weren't welcome. Wealthy, older men with too much money and way too much power. One after another. Different faces. Same energy. Elsa claimed Naomi kept placing her around these men, subtly steering her closer, hinting that connections with them could change her life. Open doors. Big deals. Fame. Security. That was the pitch. That was the promise. But after a while, something started to feel off. The vibe wasn't supportive. It was transactional. Cold. Calculated. Like she wasn't being helped. She was being positioned. Displayed. Like something valuable being set on a table. Like an offering. And that's when her instincts kicked in. So she shut it down. Told Naomi directly she wasn't interested. Not in the dinners. Not in the men. Not in whatever silent game was unfolding behind those doors. She wanted out. And that's when everything flipped. Because instead of respect, instead of distance, Naomi allegedly went ice cold. Calls stopped overnight. Texts unanswered. Invitations disappeared like they never existed. Rooms that once welcomed her suddenly had no space. Doors that were wide open, slamming shut. One by one. Blacklisted. Just like that. Erased from the circle as fast as she'd been pulled in. And here's the part that really makes your stomach drop. Elsa wasn't some seasoned insider. She wasn't 30. She wasn't even 21. She was 19. 19. Fresh to the industry. Still figuring out who she was. Still learning how the world worked. And already being ushered into rooms she never asked to enter. Rooms full of men with power she couldn't possibly fight. Rooms that, looking back now, feel a lot less like opportunity. And a lot more like something else entirely.
Naomi was coming to Nairobi to do some shopping. She was on holiday, but on a remote place. So she was in Nairobi doing shopping. And I texted her and she told me she's in Nairobi. So I was so excited to meet her. She was the first celebrity I was ever going to meet. Guys, I was through the roof. She texted me, she was like, hey, I'm here. She texted me the location. I went directly. I went with my brother. So my brother and I, we met her, we did some shopping. And as we're shopping, she's like, oh, the plane that's taking us back actually has couple more seats. Do you and your brother want to join us on holiday? Hell yes. So I was like, oh, that would be so lovely. She introduced me to a couple of people, in Hollywood. Of people, she was on vacation, were coming to Nairobi after the vacation. They were staying at the Kempinski. So I went to see them at the Kempinski when the whole thing was over. So I sat down with them, I was talking to one of them, and one of them was like, oh, it's so, like, how did you meet Naomi? And I was like, oh no, I texted her on Instagram, blah, blah. And she was like, oh yeah, she told us like she made you and she built you and she made your career. And I was like, what? No, that's not what happened. And I was like, you mean like helped me and like promoted me? And she was like, no, like what you have is because of her. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that didn't happen. Time goes by. March 2022. We have jumped into March 2022. I get a phone call. My phone is ringing. Naomi Campbell. Oh, so I pick up, I'm like, hey sis, like how are you doing? And she's like, Elsa, how dare you? Oh! So I'm in shock, right? I'm in shock. I don't know what's going on. She was like, this is the last time I'm speaking to you. Have a nice life. And she hung up, which I was very saddened by the situation, right? But I was like, if that's how she truly feels, because I respect people's space. So I was like, if that's how she truly feels, fine, it's okay. So I let it go. So after that, like a few months, things started going very badly for me. Things started going haywire. And I didn't think it was, I thought it was because of the situation, let me not lie. But I was like, also it can be sure. So I was like, let me go, because also having someone like Naomi Campbell not liking you in the industry is not a good thing. So I went to her, I apologized. I'd already apologized when the situation had happened, but I went and I apologized again and again. I started calling her, I started texting her, and then one day she just texted me and she was like, stop calling me. I have a child to take care of. So after that, I just said, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I started drinking. That's why I even quit alcohol. I started drinking. I started drinking a lot. Yeah. And then, because I wasn't sure why things were going so wrong, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then a few months later, I met Edward Enninful at a party, and Edward Enninful is oh my goodness, he's one of the people I adore the most. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's Edward, I have to go say hi. So I'm like, hey Edward, I'm such a big fan. And he looks at me, he's like, I know you. And then he said something that made me think the situation with Naomi was causing like some of the trials and tribulations I was currently.
And if you thought that was where the trail ended, it wasn't even close. Because Epstein wasn't the only dangerous name circling Naomi's world like a vulture. Not even remotely. Years before any of these files dropped, before the headlines, before the investigations, another scandal was already following her. Quieter, older, but somehow even darker. The kind of story that sounds like it belongs in a war documentary, not in the life of a runway icon. Back in 2010, Naomi was suddenly pulled into court. Not as a witness for fashion drama, not for some celebrity lawsuit, but to testify in a war crimes case against former Liberian President Charles Taylor. And the reason? Blood diamonds. Yeah, those diamonds. The kind ripped straight out of the ground in chaos. The kind bought with suffering, paid for in violence. According to sworn testimony, Taylor allegedly gifted her a handful of rough, uncut stones while she was staying at Nelson Mandela's home in South Africa, a place that's supposed to represent peace, legacy, history. Not secret midnight exchanges. Not war loot changing hands in the dark. The contrast alone feels unreal. Like two different worlds colliding. But Taylor wasn't just some controversial politician with bad press. He was arrested in 2006 and accused of fueling one of the most savage conflicts in modern African history. Prosecutors say he armed Sierra Leone's Revolutionary United Front during a civil war that stretched from the early 90s well into the 2000s. And those rebels? They weren't soldiers. They were nightmares. Villages burned to the ground. Families torn apart. Children kidnapped. Limbs hacked off as punishment. Pure terror. The kind of brutality that sticks to a country for generations. And somewhere in the middle of all that bloodshed came the diamonds. Diamonds prosecutors claim eventually landed in Naomi's hands. When reporters first approached her about it, she shut down instantly. Stone-faced. Defensive. Walking out of interviews mid-question. Refusing to say a word. Sound familiar? Same script. Different scandal. But once she was officially summoned to court, placed under oath, forced to answer, the story shifted. Suddenly, yes, she admitted she did receive diamonds. But the explanation? Stranger than fiction. She said 2 unknown men knocked on her door in the middle of the night. No warning. No introduction. Just handed her a pouch of stones and left. That's it. No questions asked. No context given. Like some shadowy delivery service. Which somehow made everything feel even more suspicious. Later, she claimed she never kept them. Said she donated the stones to charity. Maybe that's true. Maybe it isn't. But here's what people can't ignore anymore. Every time something ugly crawls out of the dark. War criminals. Predators. Billionaires with skeletons buried deep. Her name always seems to surface nearby. Not directly charged. Not officially convicted. Just always there.
From Charles. I didn't receive a diamond, and I'm not going to speak about that. Thank you very much. And I'm not here for that.
Well, we've been told that you didn't help the prosecution sort of in this very important case.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
But what she told ABC News was a lie. She did receive diamonds from Taylor, as she acknowledged under oath today, describing a bizarre middle-of-the-night scene outside her bedroom.
Yeah. When I was sleeping, I had a knock at my door, and I opened my door, and 2 men were there and gave me a pouch and said, "A gift for you."
Did you ask them who they were?
No. I was extremely tired. When they gave me the pouch, I just put it next to my bed and went back to bed.
What did you think the stones were?
They were kind of dirty looking pebbles. They were
dirty, I don't know. I find when I'm used to seeing diamonds, I'm used to seeing diamonds shiny and in a box, you know. If someone hadn't said they were diamonds, I wouldn't have guessed right away that they were diamonds.
Most people weren't buying her explanation anyway. To them, it sounded rehearsed, polished, convenient. Because almost immediately, two women who were actually there that night stepped forward, her former assistant Carol White and actress Mia Farrow, and their version of the story painted a completely different picture. Not confusion, not mystery. Certainty. They both claimed Naomi knew exactly where those diamonds came from and didn't hesitate for a second to accept them. Carol even said Naomi spent the entire evening flirting with Charles Taylor, laughing, leaning in close, playing comfortable. And when the diamonds were handed over, she wasn't shocked. She was thrilled. According to Carol, Naomi proudly showed them off like trophies. So that whole two random men in the middle of the night story, people started calling it what it sounded like. Damage control. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Because once you start digging into her past, the pattern gets uglier. There are years of allegations about her mistreating staff, stealing from charities, and flying into violent rages behind closed doors. And this isn't tabloid gossip, it's court records. Between 1998 and 2009 alone, she was reportedly convicted 11 different times for physically assaulting employees. 11. That's not a bad day. That's behavior. Back in 1998, her assistant Georgina Galanis accused Naomi of grabbing her by the throat and smashing a phone over her head after a simple delay at customs in a Canadian airport. Court documents described Naomi lunging, choking her, shaking her so hard she collapsed onto a couch, crying and terrified. Imagine going to work and leaving in tears because your boss attacked you. And somehow it didn't stop there. Not long after, she hired another assistant. Same job, same outcome. Vanessa Frisbee later claimed Naomi assaulted her during a heated argument too. Naomi denied it, of course, and then countersued her, flipping the pressure back onto the employee. Fight back and you get buried. That seemed to be the message. And here's something a lot of people missed because it quietly disappeared from headlines. Just over a year ago, she was reportedly investigated again, this time over money. Millions of dollars. Funds that had been donated to her charity. Money people thought was going to help others. Instead, investigators alleged it was being funneled into luxury shopping sprees, vacations, private jets, pure excess. Not aid, not relief. Lifestyle. At this point, it stops looking like isolated incidents. It looks like a trail. War criminals, predators, missing girls, abused staff, charity money gone. And Naomi's name keeps popping up in the middle of all of it. For years, she slipped through untouched. Too famous. Too protected. Too powerful. But now, people are watching closer than ever. And this time they're not letting it slide. Some are even saying prison isn't off the table anymore. One commenter wrote, "It's wild how Naomi always escapes consequences no matter who she's linked to. Nobody questions it, and that's scary." Another didn't mince words. "We've heard the trafficking rumors for years. Now her name's in the Epstein files too. Everyone involved needs to be held accountable. So now the spotlight's fully on her. No more hiding behind glamour and runways." What do you think? Is this finally the moment everything catches up to Naomi? Or is she going to walk away again like nothing ever happened? Drop your thoughts below, and if you want to see the next messy breakdown, click into the next video.